Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. We know that we are getting close to the end of Q3 and we need to look into NIO's expected delivery numbers for Q3. Previously I was hoping for 90,000. Currently I reduced it a little bit to 86,000. This was also due to the fact that the current run rate looks a little bit too low in order to reach the required delivery numbers that is required for September month in order to reach 90,000. So if we're gonna reach 90,000 deliveries for September, NIO needs to deliver around 37,000 cars in September. Currently, they have delivered around 12,440 in China. Well, these are actually, again, the weekly insurance registration numbers, but we know that they are trending quite closely to the actual delivery numbers. Now, if you have been following NIO, you know that usually they have much stronger end of the month, like the last weekly delivery numbers usually is much stronger than, the average of the month. So if the average is currently 1244 per working day, you take that number times the number of working days in this month, that's around 27,000, excluding exports. I'm not sure how much we should calculate for, let's say, estimations of exporting to the other countries, but let's say even 2,500, that's, getting close to 30,000, even with the current run rate, which is essentially conservative since it's, based on the first 10 working days of the month. And those are always lower than the actual number of deliveries per day, since the end of the month is usually stronger. So if you, let's say, a slight increase in, optimistic run rate of around 1,500 per day, with the remaining working days, that's 18,000. 18,000 plus 12,500, that's, 30,000, 31,000. In addition to that, some, couple of thousands, maybe 3,000 to exports, that's 33,000. So that's 4,000 less than, what I was hoping for of 37,000 deliveries for September. But still, their best ever month by far, I would say. The best ever one was obviously this previous month in August at 31,305. The only other month that was close to that number was December of 2024. You can see on the blue chart. So in any case, I would say even if they fall short of that, let's say 37,000, it's still like, the best ever month for NIO. So in that regard, things are going in the right direction. Now, the elephant in the room is obviously the stock price. It's been now going up. It's 68% up year to date. And remember that I was always mentioning in the past couple of, quarters that I much rather invest in NIO after the very likely capital raise that they now did, just recently. Then be sure that this company have enough money to survive, and also seeing that they are actually serious about cutting cost. I would much rather, have that guarantee and invest in NIO, because I have burnt my hands so many times on NIO. Then this time I said, you know what, let's wait and see that the company is actually doing like everything that is needed in order to make sure that they are surviving, and doing it not only surviving but also like thriving. And I feel like we are very close to that moment currently. So in my opinion, I much rather look at investment in NIO and, increasing my position now than I was obviously like, pre the capital raise. Now, I was critical towards the management because, let's be frank, if they had, starting to control their cost a little bit earlier, probably they wouldn't even need to raise this amount of capital and dilute the shareholders. So, let's not pretend that everything is fine. I mean, if the stock is at $7 or $8 now, without that, dilution, if they just manage cost a little bit better, we would probably be north of 10 already. So, there's also the alternative cost. So let's not pretend that the management is doing just fine. At least they are trying to improve. So that's what I like. But in any case, you can also see that my expectations for Q3 would be probably, around a 400 million or so net loss, give or take, depending on a little bit of some bits and pieces. And then obviously Q4 number, it might look a little bit, too optimistic. Can they really increase their quarter-over-quarter vehicle deliveries by 50% over their already like really strong, potentially best ever quarter, which it most likely will be in Q3 at the bare minimum 86,000, maybe even 90,000, right? Can they then do, 51% more and reach that 130,000 in Q4 and then be very, very close to, profitability, obviously making a net loss of around 100 to 150 million. And once you exclude, for example, stock-based compensation and other bits and pieces, they would technically then maybe be profitable. This is something that the management has also mentioned. I would say, yeah, they are moving definitely in that direction. Now, if Will they do 130,000? I'm not sure. I don't know what your point of view is. I mean, that would really require like almost 43,000 deliveries every single month in Q3. Is that possible? Currently, it looks like Onvo deliveries are really good, but there's been a little bit of a reduction over the past couple of, weeks. If you see, for example, the Onvo insurance numbers, they were trending, well above 3,000. And even one time in week 34, 4,100. Now the past 2 weeks, they do like 2,600 and 2,600. It's still very good because that's like easily 10,000 a month. But it's, less than 3,700 or 4,000. I don't know what your point of view is in terms of the demand for Onvo right now. That's what's essentially going to be required in order for NIO to reach like those insane quarterly numbers of 130,000 in Q4. Then I believe Onvo needs to go to like at the bare minimum 4,000 or 5,000 every single week. I think that's possible, but I'm not sure. So in any case, that was a quick update, and the summary is that, I do believe that NIO is moving in the right direction, and actually I'm seriously now starting to look into, increasing my position in NIO finally, because this is the first time in 4 years, or at least in a couple of years, where I feel like the management is aware of their mistakes, the fundamentals is looking better, and the valuation is simply too low. So in any case, thanks for your time. Please like, subscribe, and see you in the next one.